how true it is that we love ourselves more than other people, but we care about their opinions more than our own. Now, this comes to us as this comes to us from Marcus Aurelius, which is a shocker, as most of my videos are a quote from Marcus Aurelius. And I probably made a video about this exact quote. I can't say for certain, but it's a it's a quote that haunts me, so I'm sure I have. But I wanted to make this video today because I've really been thinking about why we care about other people's opinions so much and why it affects us so much. Now, I post a good amount of videos, and sometimes they just pour out of me. Some days, I can post like 6 videos, and I scheduled a post because um, I've noticed that some days it's just like 6 videos will come out, and then there'll be a week, and I can't even get 2 sentences across in front of the camera. And I think, well, I think one reason is just some days, I have more to talk about than other days, which is normal. But I think another reason is some days the topics that are truly touching my soul, that I truly want to talk about, I let the opinions of others deter what I'm going to say. Because I think I could always riff and elaborate on topics, but sometimes my brain goes somewhere that I don't want to go, and I feel uncomfortable talking about it or putting it out on a video or something of that nature. And this is truly an obstacle. I care about what other people think. I say, no, I know, no, I can't talk about that. I can't talk about that. No one cares about that. No one wants to hear that. Everyone's going to think that's stupid, so on and so forth. And I let that fact stop me. But when for some reason I come to the conclusion that what I have to talk about is worthy, what I have to talk about is cool, what I have to talk about is valuable. Well, I think it's always valuable, but when I come to that conclusion, then I can just pour out, and it just comes easy. Like right now, I'm just talking, I'm just flowing because I don't really care anymore, because I've realized that is what impedes my videos. Some days like I said, I'll post like 6 videos, and then I'll go a week without posting a video, and I'll beat myself up for that, even though I'm trying. I'm doing the work to try, because um, I mean, if you actually watch my channel, I don't know how many people actually watch my channel consistently. I mean, if you do, um, I mean, drop a comment and let me know, because I think that's pretty cool. But they don't just flow. Well, they flow out of me, but like I do work. I read, I write, and I think about. I go on walks, long walks, and I think about the things I want to talk about. So it's not like I just sit down on the camera and just start talking about something. It's like hours of quote unquote preparation go into each video because of how much I've thought about it, how much I've written about it, and how much I've read on the topic. So it does take a while to post a video, but sometimes I can do that process, for 2, 3 hours about a topic. And then I sit in front of the camera, and then the obstacle of caring what other people are going to think hits me. And the video is junk. The video is, I can't get past the first minute because I'm tripping on my words, because my brain wants me to go here, but, or my heart wants me to go here, but my brain wants me to go here. And then they're fighting each other. And then I just can't, I can't sit in front of a camera for 15 minutes talking when my heart and my brain are fighting each other on what I should be saying. It's just impossible. And that solely comes from, I believe, my caring about what other people think. And for a while, for like the littlest bit of time, I thought it was pretty crazy for Marcus Aurelius to say we love ourselves more than other people. Because I think I used to be like a big moralist. I was like, no, no, I love everyone more than myself. I'm virtuous. But that's just not the case. And that's okay. That's human. It's human to love yourself more than others. It's human. If you don't, if you it's at like on an airplane, you got to help yourself before you help other people. You that is how it works in all avenues of life. You cannot help another unless you yourself have been helped. If you're stumped on an obstacle, whether metaphysically or physically, then you really have no place and no right to try to help someone who's stuck too. You're in the same boat. So, yeah, I always thought, well, I didn't always, like I said, a little bit. I thought that was crazy, but it is very true that we do all love ourselves more than other people. It's naturally human. It's the nature of an animal. We are animals. And it's the nature of an animal to look out for one's health first. And there's nothing wrong with that. But how weird it is that we truly do care about the opinions of other people more than our own. It's insane. I like going to the gym, and sometimes, I'll want to get stronger, so, I'll bulk and I'll gain some fat, and I don't really like that. And I see somebody, I'll say I'm at the, beach or something, and with my shirt off, and then I'm like, I'm so insecure, and it's so pitiful. And it's like, I know what I'm doing. I'm bulking in service to getting more muscle, in service to getting stronger, in service to losing weight in the future. But these other people don't know that. And I let their, and they probably don't even care. That's the other thing. You think everyone's looking at you, you think everyone sees your biggest insecurity, but no one does. You're not that important. It's very narcissistic, it's very egotistical to believe that, you're the center of attention. That's like, it's like science 1,000 years ago, believing the earth was, or all the sun and the planets were revolving around the earth. That's just a very egotistical view. And they had no way of knowing, so it was just a hypothesis, but it's rooted in something very narcissistic, and the fact that everything revolves around us. And then if you just go down to the macro or the micro of us, it's me. Everything revolves around me. So therefore, everyone has to be so acutely aware of this insecurity of mine because they have nothing better to think about. And, when you think about it, that's very egotistical. But it's like, what you're doing and you know what it is in service to. So why do you care about the opinions of people who have no idea? Marcus Aurelius has another quote where he says, you have to know an awful lot about somebody before you can accurately judge them. You have to know an awful lot about a situation before you can actually say if that is good or bad. You may see somebody all the examples I can think about are kind of weird. And this kind of goes back to the idea of like, I care what you guys think about what I'm about to say. But I also just kind of want to give the best example I can. But I think I think you can come up with your own example of, times where you thought, you were like, oh, that is so wrong. How could they possibly do that? And then you get a little more backstory and you're like, oh, I'd probably do the same thing. You have to know an awful lot about a situation. Say you see somebody you hear about somebody, there's that Sam Harris talks about it, but there's like a guy with a brain tumor, and it like affects something in his brain, like the sexual region, and he becomes a pedophile. And he gets sent to jail, and then they realize he has a brain tumor. That was the reason he became a pedophile. And then they get the brain tumor out, and he's perfectly fine again. But then the brain tumor comes back, and he does pedophile actions again. And it's like, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than just some pedophile. There's brain tumors, there's actual problems with his head that he cannot control. And, it makes you think different about him. It's like, is it really his fault? And that's Sam Harris uses to talk about the topic of free will and stuff like that, which I'm not going to get to in this video, but I think it's a fair point. You need to know, you truly need to know a lot about somebody in a situation to truly accurately assess the situation. And that just leads back to just caring about the opinions, or loving yourself more than other people, but caring about their opinions more than your own. It's like, who has more information about what you are currently doing than you? Nobody. You are the best judge of what is happening. And if you judge what you're doing as right, as benefiting you, as good, Marcus Aurelius also says, if it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing for you to do. If you come to the conclusion that something is right to do, then it's the right thing for you to do. And then if people lack information and judge you for that, it's not your fault. I mean, in a sense, it's not their fault because they're lacking information. In a sense, it is their fault because they shouldn't be judging without having a full picture of the situation. I think that's another fault of human beings. We judge so quickly. We think we have a full picture when we can really only see the littlest corner of the picture, and we act like we have the whole story. But I just want to make this video to urge you just to love your opinion as you love yourself more than other people's opinions. Because you have the most information. You know what it is all in service to. And you know. No one else knows. So just have faith that you're doing the right thing. And if it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing for you to do. And who cares what they think? Who cares? Who cares what they think you look like? Who cares what they think? Anything. A lot of people change, and to care about what people think about you based off their past analysis of you is, who cares? I'm sure a lot of people have opinions about me who don't know me, who knew me but don't know me anymore. And that's okay. I don't fault them for that. I fault my past self. But I'm not going to sit here and let that ruin my life. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's just an opinion, and everyone has one, and everyone has a right to one. But they're lacking valuable information. So we should just, if that's the case, you should just take that opinion with a grain of salt and realize that you have more up-to-date information and your opinion is more valid. Or, yeah, I mean, if you have more information, your opinion is more valid. I think that's fair to say. even though no opinion is right or wrong, they're opinions for a reason. But if someone's opinion about you or your actions is, dated, years back, I think it's safe to say you have more up-to-date information. But yeah, I just really want to make this video to tell you guys to stop caring what other people think. It's a waste of a life to walk on eggshells saying, not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. Because, no matter what you do, people are going to disagree with you. People aren't going to like you. And, as Marcus Aurelius said, people will welcome the day you die. Essentially, he didn't exactly say that, but essentially, people will welcome the day you die. No matter how well a life you live. Whether you think Jesus is God or, I think it's pretty safe to say Jesus was real. There's documentation of a man named Jesus of Nazareth. The Romans have it, so it's safe to say he was real. And it's safe to say he lived a pretty virtuous life. And it's also safe to say that he had enemies. And all he tried to do was spread love and light, whether he was God or not. All he tried to do was spread love and light. And people hated him. So why do you expect everyone to love you? You will be hated, and that's okay. As long as you're doing what you believe is right.